Welcome to the Hermitcraft recap. My name is Sloy XP. Captions on this video were provided by Liara. Man-made horrors beyond my comprehension were provided by the fanbase. Castle rise, anvils fall, farms farm. And I'm starting to think that Doc's cover of Wacko's World would just be him saying Canada over and over.
Got him. Got him.
Our show format requires an intro, but truth be told, I just am really excited to talk about this past week, so let's just skip that and take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with false symmetry, because if I'm honest, without Pixlriffs to bounce ideas from, I just put their names into a randomizer wheel and pulled the trigger. That does let me say the line, the false wiggler. So, I'm all for it. The false wiggler is what I affectionately call the Dark Oak auto farm false symmetry puts together to afford building more of her base. The stretch of the bridge from her castle to the factory sort of exhausted her brown wood supply. But the thing about Dark Oak is that it's a 2x2 tree, meaning that you can't just apply a regular tree farm design to it, you have to somehow plant it in a 2x2 while AFK, and the solution is to sit down into a minecart and wobble left to right while holding right click. Thus, I present to you the false wiggler. It wiggles the false and boggles the mind. Still, it's a much easier time at least than phasing the treasure chest out of the Gusta Claws.
So you found out that he's got a little surprise inside, huh?
Yeah, although I kinda didn't realize there was actually anything in it that would be important.
If you remember, false symmetry got a gust for a Christmas present, but there was also a chest inside it that she couldn't access without first killing the animal. Not wanting to do so, she calls upon Impulse SV, and this becomes quite an operation, since Impulse SV from the past had the foresight to put the gust onto the honey block. As a result, Impulse from the present has to crowbar the gust out of the entire contraption. But luckily it survived and is now resting in a multicolored Christmas bauble false made for it. And really, we did not need another gust to roam the server, not with Doc M77 already roaming the premises, or rather, the perimeter.
And that's Claus back in his bubble, hopefully to never need moving again, because he was an absolute trooper and honestly didn't do as much damage as I thought he might.
His crusade against the nation of Canada continues as he assigns Johil's Canadian and anvils him, while the guy, I kid you not, is too busy posting cute selfies to Tumblr.
Okay, I don't know if you know this, but Scar is winning a competition about how pretty we are. I'm trying to find pictures of myself shirtless to post on Twitter, because he's running around shirtless getting all the votes, and it's not okay.
So as far as the server etiquette goes, Ifo anvil kills Doc M within the 2 minutes that the guy was not at the PC. Doc M anvil kills Ifo while Ifo is AFK farming stuff.
This is a tree farm, right? Does it spit out wood somewhere? Oh yeah.
And it's a bad precedent to establish, because if farming kills are fair game, Doc runs the risk of never safely using his newest mob grinder. And when I say mob grinder, mob is singular. By making the floor for the farm 1 block tall and entirely made of mud, the techies figured out how to limit the spawns to spiders only, min-maxing the mob cap into turbo-vomiting spiders. Check this out, guys, they added Australia to Minecraft.
I am sick of placing blocks in a straight plane all the time. Like, this is just the grindy Minecraft work. All these layers and then...
So for the weather, it's not just raining spiders, we're also in for 10 inches of Guardian downfall. Here's a plan. We build a mob elevator out of a corner of the Guardian temple at like 15 degrees to the vertical. We then make a death drop onto a stone generator where we put some skulk catalysts, and we place it exactly so that the only bit of the actual terrain that is within our spawn radius is that corner of the Guardian temple that also is only filled with water. If this sounds familiar, that's because this is exactly what Exumavoid did. His Guardian-based Skulk farm required precisely 0 temple tampering, which sounds pretty good until you realize that it also meant he did the whole thing while undermining fatigue effect.
And that's because we got another trick up our sleeve, that is to use soul sand to create bubble elevators. Got to be very careful in here though, there's a bunch of guardians.
And I get it, milk is plentiful and you can insta-mine Scaffold, but it still feels insane somehow. Just the sheer value of the undo button skyrocketing here, you know? Coincidentally, Pearlescent Moon straight up undoes Ijevin for littering within his own base. I mean it affectionately when I say, Pearl goes completely mom mode about Jevin cleaning his room.
Why did I just catch you
throwing some items on the ground in your starter base? Huh? What's all that about?
That was not me.
All of
Actually,
this?
That was. Oh my god.
All of these valuable
evidence.
goods that you've just thrown on the ground.
She does sort out some of Grian's own shulker box graveyard, though her time is certainly better spent dealing with her own storage room than trying to combat the wobbling pile of entropy that is that man. Filling in the tunnel hideout at her base takes enough time for all the copper in the vicinity to oxidize. And really, if it's speed she's after, she could probably drown her entire highway if the bit of Soul Speed Dolphin Grace Scar shows her is anything to go by.
Your sprint, hold your sprint key, and then go forward.
Okay.
And then speed!
Really, this whole cleaning thing is time saved on looking for items for the build projects later. Looking into the story for her base, Pearl decides that it's gonna be all about the alien species and the human resistance observing and researching each other. And since the aliens already have their observation tower in the anomalous zone, so should what's left of humanity.
I know this was a super random build to make and honestly a little bit unexpected. I too did actually not expect to be building this in this episode and I kind of just thought of it then and you know what? I felt like making it.
The terrain over Geminate's castle moves the opposite way. Maybe less towards the Minecraft normal, but certainly more towards regular world normal.
Don't stand too
Girl.
close.
I don't want to be eaten.
So don't stand too close then.
The Elven Keep sinks into a forest of custom trees and stone outcroppings, a river flowing downhill, and custom mushrooms like no other. Yeah, maybe some of that alien gunk is seeping into the ground after all. Why else would the local shrooms have a brick texture to them?
Oh my gosh. This is my base. I get to live here. It's not even done yet.
In the meantime, Zombie Cleo caught up to her, with their own fantasy castle being structurally finished. Cleo fills in both the front and the back end of their Atlantean castle, apropos of nothing and certainly not because Jevin just started his one.
Doesn't this look amazing? I am so proud. I think this might be the best thing I've ever built. Like the best building I've ever built.
Epic time-lapse aside, I actually really appreciate that Cleo makes it a point to make the whole build accessible without an elytra, once you fly onto the floating island, I mean. Also, it's one thing that the castle's chambers are interwoven and walkable, it's another that the vines and leaves spread across the walls also look very parkourable. I would love to see someone Assassin's Creed their way from the ground floor and up to the queen statue in the throne room. Just be wary of whatever weapons they got stashed in that dress.
Should it be poofier at the... No, I think like the flat at the front with the poofy at the back is good.
Now that I think about it, Bloodborne boss Zombie Cleo does successfully parry Doc M and his anvil this week. While working on the armor stand commission for XB Crafted, Doc almost assigns them Canadian, but that ends up being about as child's play as filling XB's mind with armor stands after building a castle in one time lapse. Seriously, that apparently only took them an hour? How fast can they build? And that's about it for last week's recap. My name has been Sloy XP, captions on this video were provided by Liara, Pixlriffs should be returning next time, and if you want, I have Zedov on speed dial. I promise we'll get some British accent in here. Don't forget to subscribe if you're still here, you're a great audience, and we'll see you next week.